Okay, so in this recording, I actually have something really interesting to demonstrate. Now, it's been basically about a year since I've actually uploaded anything. Only explanation I have for that is, well, I guess I had no ideas, but that is until now, because today I have an interesting recording to do. So, a little while ago, at some point last year, I did a recording in which I demonstrated my iBook G4 computer. Well, in this recording, I'm going to demonstrate this modified macOS9 disk image that I made. And the reason it's modified is normally macOS9 is not natively supported on most iBook G4 models, except for some of the earlier ones, which I happen to have one. I have the 2004 model iBook G4. And also, I modified it so that it actually includes the Outspoken screen reader on the installation media. So that is something that basically doesn't exist out there. I mean, you can install Outspoken in macOS 9, but not actually in the actual installer. So what I'll be doing today in this recording is demonstrating how to install it, and then also what you need to do after the installation. Now, this is guaranteed basically to work on the iBook G4 because the earlier ones, particularly the model PowerBook 6.5 is my model iBook G4 that I have. It's not guaranteed to work on any other computer. I don't know if it will work on an iBook G3 or earlier, but if anyone has one and wants to try it, definitely try it and let me know how it works, if it works or not, because I have an iBook G4 and it works perfectly on there, but I don't know if this will work on other computers. But I will have a Google Drive link in the description so that you can download this modified disk image file, and you'll just burn it to a CD. Now, depending on your computer, I would recommend using a CDR disk, but sometimes you can use a CDRW, which that's actually what I'm using. It just depends on the health of your computer's disk drive. But in this recording, I'm going to just basically demonstrate how to install it. So first, I should have got a little more prepared for this. This is all unedited, and it's fine. I'm going to turn off my MacBook Pro.
Menu bar app now apps read full slow restart shutdown ellipsis. Close reopen cancel shutdown default button.
Okay. I used this. Oh, my headphones have low power, it just said. You didn't hear it in the recording, but yeah. Anyway, I used my modern computer to burn the disk using an external DVD drive. I would recommend using a Mac to do this, whether it's old or new. You can actually use, and I've actually done this multiple times, you can use the iBook G4 itself if you have an OS on it already, and you can use Disk Utility to burn the disk. That's how I would recommend doing it. This is actually the first time I tried doing it with a modern computer, and it worked. So I would not recommend using a Windows PC to burn that disk because, macOS disk layout and a Windows computer it might not boot if you try to do it that way. So I'm going to put this computer away and get the iBook G4 out, and we'll get started with this installation. So, here's my iBook G4 computer. I did a demonstration recording about almost a year ago, basically. So, if you want to check that out, that was me demonstrating the computer and macOS 10.4 and 10.5 dual booted. But now, we're going to demonstrate a full, clean installation of macOS 9 with Outspoken. So, if I can find the cord, that would be great. Oh yes, here it is. Okay, so I actually charged up the battery in this computer. Yeah, the battery still works, but I charged it up earlier before we do this. So normally you'd probably, if it's a laptop, you'll want to plug it in, but we're gonna just try this on battery power, not plugged in at all. So we're going to install this, and then I'll kind of tell you a little bit about it, certain things about it, like what you need to do after the installation, and then also certain sort of not necessarily problems, but things you might run into. Like, for example, Outspoken, there is no way, as far as I know, to check the battery percentage with Outspoken in this, because it will show your battery percentage in the menu bar, but Outspoken doesn't read that. It just reads it as an icon. So I have not figured out how to make it read your battery percentage, but that's just something to be aware of. So now what we're going to do is, I have a CD here. I already burned it. And we're going to turn on the computer and put in the disk, and then I might have to reboot the computer a second time, actually, because in order to actually make it boot from the disk. So here we go. I need to put the disk in. And now we're going to turn off the computer, because it's going to try to boot into the OS that's on it right now. No, I'm going to have to do it this way. Okay. Now we're going to turn the computer on, and we're going to hold down the C key, and that will tell it to boot from the CD. So here we go. Now we're holding down the C key. Now, this disk image, I modified it to include the Outspoken screen reader. So it will come up talking right away. And here we go. Now I can let go of the key and let it boot up. This takes for me at least, it takes about 2 minutes to get going. And you'll hear the disk drive start to move. So once this gets going, we can so I guess while it's booting up, I'll tell you a little bit about this. So if you don't know about the Outspoken screen reader, this is a screen reader. It's a third-party screen reader that was made for classic macOS. I mean, macOS, it was made for, I think, System 6, and it works on System 7, and then macOS 8, and also macOS 9. This screen reader actually uses the number pad on the keyboard. So I would recommend using an external keyboard. If you're going to use a laptop like an iBook or a PowerBook, I'd recommend using an external keyboard. You can, on most of them, which this is what I actually do. If you're familiar with it and the layout, you can use a button basically on the computer to turn on like a virtual number pad, and it turns like most of the letter keys into the number pad. Now, I wouldn't recommend that if you're not familiar with Outspoken or anything like that, because it can be confusing at first. So I'd recommend this image does also, I included more USB drivers, so it should work with most USB keyboards.
Window. Please unlock the disk and try again.
And there we have it. Outspoken is ready. So, basically, what's going to happen is it's going to come up with an alert, and it's going to say, please unlock the disk. That is, just ignore that.
Please unlock the disk and try again.
Yeah, that is something that has to do with the fact that Outspoken is on a CD, and it tries to write stuff to it, and obviously it can't. So, but it's not anything to worry about. I would just not even worry about that. It will give you that warning sometimes. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to talk about how to actually navigate around using Outspoken in this recording. I'll leave that for a separate recording if anyone wants that. Right now, I'm just focusing on how to install it with Outspoken.
Please unlock the disk. 5 lines. Button. Okay.
Press the OK button.
Desktop.
And now it's going to load more stuff.
Window.
Now, the first thing it's going to open is going to be the macOS 9 CD, which is exactly what we want. So what we're going to do is you're going to want to go down to Utilities. So sometimes I think I can press the letter U, and it will go to the Utilities, and then we can press Command down arrow to open it.
Window.
Let's see if it did what I wanted. And then we're going to use the number pad to navigate, and we are going to want Drive Setup.
Icon. 10 items, 30. Icon. Icon about the utilities.
Yes,
Drive
so
set. Simple. About. Icon. Icon
I
about
almost
the
had it.
utilities. Drive setup readme 1ST.
So we want
1ST.
Drive Setup.
1ST. 1ST. Readme. Drive. The. Utility. Setup.
Sometimes you can double click, but that doesn't seem to work. So once you're on the thing you want to do, you press Command down arrow to open it.
Desktop. Window. Outspoken off.
And yes, you just heard it say outspoken off. Now that sometimes happens. That is the fault of, Outspoken isn't necessarily designed to run off of a CD like this. So sometimes it will somehow have a problem basically with memory. And sometimes when you open applications or something like that, Outspoken will crash. The way to turn it back on is you'll press Control and the number lock key.
Please unlock the disk and try again. Dialog.
Now, that is just sometimes that happens. That won't happen once macOS is actually installed on your system, but when you're using this CD, that's something to be aware of is sometimes Outspoken will
It's
crash.
not my fault.
Please unlock the disk and try
Please
again.
unlock the disk and try again.
Yeah, sometimes that's a thing that the text-to-speech does. So we're going to press OK,
5 lines. Window.
and this time we should be in the Drive Setup.
Use quote drive setup 1 period 9 period 2 quote if you need to format a FireWire HDD period. Use quote drive setup quote left parent v2 period 0 period 7 right parent if you want. Version 2 period space for this and stuff. Version 1 that can format.
I think...
41 lines. Simple. Outspoken off.
Oops, it turned off. Let's turn it back on.
Dialog. 5 dialog. You cannot modify this document semicolon. You can only.
Okay, I accidentally opened the wrong thing. Sometimes that'll happen. So what you want to do is we're going to close out. It won't close. Won't close. That's weird.
Locate period.
Oh, well, my recording device died. Well, for some reason, it will not close this document. Sometimes that'll happen. It accidentally opened the Drive Setup README file instead of the Drive Setup application itself, and for some reason it won't close. I think Outspoken turned off. No, it didn't.
Locate period. You cannot locate button. Okay, Outspoken off.
Oh, because it was in a dialogue. That's why.
Desktop. Please unlock the disk. Desktop. Outspoken off.
Okay, so you can hear that Outspoken is frequently turning off every time I turn it back on and press that OK button.
Please unlock the disk. 5 desktop. Outspoken off.
Now, sometimes that will happen, and if it does, basically you can't get anywhere with it because Outspoken will just keep turning off. So the solution is you actually are going to want to turn your computer off and back on. I know it's it can be sort of an annoying thing, but this doesn't always happen, only sometimes. So we're going to turn it off. And then we're going to turn it back on and hold the C key to boot from the disk. So here we go. And there we go. It's starting to get started. So sometimes, like I said, that doesn't always happen, only sometimes. It's just a side effect of running Outspoken from the CD. I tried to optimize it as best I could, but that's basically because the CD is locked. That's why it tells you to unlock the disk, and it tries to write some information to it, and I think that's when it crashes. So that's why I'm actually just doing a recording about how to install this before I just, put it up. That way you know what you're doing with it, because there are some things to be aware of, and that's one of them. So it's kind of loading from the disk. I will pause the recording until the disk loads.
Horizontal space.
And
Press.
try again.
Okay,
Dialog.
I'm back, and
Stop horizontal. Stop alt.
this time the screen reader loaded again. So we're gonna try this again. So again, what we're gonna do is use the number pad to basically
Please unlock. 5 lines.
navigate to
Desktop.
that OK button, and once it loads,
Window.
we're gonna go and, well, as soon as the disk is done doing that, we're gonna press U for utilities, and then press Command down arrow
Window.
to open it. And we're gonna look around in here.
Icon. 10 items. Icon. Icon. About the utilities. Drive setup Redmi 1 SD. Simple. Icon. Icon. Icon.
That's the drive setup README, so I don't want that.
Simple. Disk first state. Drive setup 1.9.2.
That is the one we want. Drive setup 1.9.2. So we're gonna focus on,
Simple text. 1 setup. Drive. Drive.
and then you're gonna press Command down arrow. Well, I'm gonna actually press that once to select it, and then press Command down arrow to open it.
Desktop. Dialog.
And we are now in the drive setup application. So this is actually used to format the disk. Yeah, this is actually, if you know about how to install macOS 10, this is a pretty different process because in macOS 10 you use disk utility and basically erase the disk. Drive setup, you open that and you use that to initialize the disk. So when you open this,
List of drives.
there should be a list of drives, and there's usually 2 of them.
Volume name left parent as right parent. Type. Busted 1. macOS9 period 2 period 2 iBook G4. ATP. 0. 0.
So we don't
0.
want that, but we are going to want the other one.
Less than not mounted greater than. ATA. 3.
So
0.
it reads that the drive is ATA. So you're going to want that one. Just move
0.
to it.
0. 3. ATA. Mounted greater. ATA.
Yeah, that's the one you want. That's what it will say for you too most of the time. That's ATA. You want to click that
Outspoken of.
by pressing the number 5 on the number pad. Also outspoken crashed. Let's turn it back on. Control number lock.
Please unlock the disk and try it. Dialog.
Press
Please.
OK.
5 lock. Dialog. 3.
And
0.
now that the drive is selected, you'll want to go down closer to the bottom, and there should be an initialize button.
Simple. Simple. This disk can be initialized period. 5 lines. Button. Initialize ellipsis.
So you're going to want to click that button.
Outspoken of.
And outspoken crashed again. Let's turn it back on.
Please unlock the disk. Please unlock 5 line. Dialog. Initializing will destroy all data on the following volumes :
And yes, I can actually use I forgot what the command is to read the entire window. It's what was it? Oh yeah, I think it's Option and the number pad enter key, I think.
volumes : untitled. Untitled.
That reads
Simple.
the whole
Simple.
window.
New partitioning : 1 macOS. Initialization options :
No, it doesn't. Maybe it's command.
button. Custom setup ellipsis. Button. Button. Initialization options : none. New partitioning : simple. Simple. Untitled. Untitled. The following volumes : initializing will destroy all data on
I think it's command, maybe, and enter.
dictionary.
No,
Dialog.
that's not. Let's cancel.
Cancel dialog.
Okay,
Let's
never
talk now.
mind. Basically, what we're going to do is turn it back
Please
on.
unlock the disk. 5 dialog.
And it'll give you that warning. Initializing the disk will erase all information. Yes, that's what you want. There's a button at the bottom that will say initialize.
The following.
So,
Untitled. Untitled. Simple. Simple. New partition. Initialization option. Button. Custom setup ellipsis. Button. Cancel. Button. Initialize.
see what you're going to want this initialize button.
Button. Button. Initialize.
So we're going to click the number 5 on it,
Outspoken of.
and that should have started the disk initialization, which will erase the entire hard drive. Yeah, not spoken crashed, so we're going to turn it on again.
Please unlock the disk and. Button. Button. Okay. Dialog. Initialize ellipsis. 5 lines.
And now we should...
Initialization was successful period.
So initialization was successful. So now what we can do is press Command I'm not sure if that works. No, it doesn't. Command Q does not work in OS 9, it seems.
Initialization was
So what you want to do is press Command W to close the window.
desktop.
Oh, never mind. Hold on. Command Q does work. So now we're going to press... we're still in the utilities, but we don't want that. So we're going to press Command W
Window.
to close this window. But we should still be in the
Icon. 7 items, comma 39 period 5.
the CD. So the next application you're going to want is going to be Apple Software Restore.
Icon. Apple Software Restore.
Yep, Apple Software Restore. So we're going to click it, and then we're going to press Command down arrow to open
Desktop.
it.
Dialog.
And this is the application that will actually install macOS 9 on your computer. So
Button.
we're going to
Okay. Button. Okay. Button.
I don't know what this button is. It doesn't,
Outspoken off.
outspoken turned off. We're going to turn it on.
Please unlock the disk. File. Dialog. Configuration open quote Macintosh. HD period in close quote and to open quote entitled comma close quote using Macintosh extended volume.
Okay, so it's basically just giving you a lot of information about that it's going to install, it's going to copy the contents from Macintosh HD.img to Untitled, which is the new formatted hard disk. So what you're going to want to do is there should be a restore button.
Button. Quit. Open quote entitled close quote will be usable as a startup volume. Computers period the content button. Restore.
And it doesn't read that right, but that's restore. So you're going to click that,
Outspoken off.
and yes, outspoken turned off. And it made a ding sound. So
Dialog. This operation will erase the volume open quote entitled close quote. And put open quote Macintosh HD period in close quote and put period it will take about 10 minutes period proceed question mark.
yes.
5 lines.
So
Button. Cancel. Button. Okay.
so you're going to want this OK button.
Button. Okay. Button. Okay.
We're going to click it,
Please unlock the disk and try again.
and here we go. Now it should start to
22 lines. Button. Okay. Dialog.
And now you're going to hear a lot of disk activity from the CD drive and the hard drive for a while. It should be going. I'm not sure if there's a way to find out. They're kind of... Okay, so the way to know if it's restoring is outspoken will not turn off, but what will happen is when you try to navigate around in this window, it will not move you at all. It'll just basically not say anything. So what's happening is it's restoring the macOS 9 system right now to the hard drive. So it said this could take about 10 minutes. Now, from what I remember, it doesn't actually take that long, at least not for me, for my iBook G4. Now, depending on the speed of your DVD drive and your hard drive, that depends. Now, if you happen to have like a computer, I know some people put like an SSD disk in their iBooks and iMacs and stuff like that. If you have one of those, this might go even faster. But I have the original hard drive, the 30 gigabyte hard drive that came with this. So I want to keep the recording going because that way you know what to expect when it's actually done. Because right now it'll look frozen. When you try to navigate around, it won't move. If you can hear it, I don't know if you can hear it or not from the phone microphone, probably not. But there's a lot of disk activity going on this hard drive. Not much CD disk activity though. So once this is installed, I will tell you what you would have to do next because it's not completely over. Let's check the time.
12:10 p.m. and 15.
So yeah, as you can kind of see, this is an outspoken, a macOS 9 disk with outspoken built in, and it works really good, you know, to basically, it's a pretty simple process. All you have to do is go to the utilities, open drive setup, and initialize the disk, and then you'll close out of that and go to the Apple Software Restore and restore the software, basically. Outspoken will crash sometimes. Sometimes it'll crash to where you need to restart the whole computer, as you kind of saw the first time. And other times it will just crash and you just have to turn it back on and continue with what you're doing. actually don't hear any disk activity. Nothing's happening. Oh, yeah, there is disk activity.
The volume open quote Macintosh HD close quote was. The volume open quote Macintosh HD close quote was. The volume open quote Macintosh HD close quote was. Outspoken now.
Okay, I think it was trying to say that it was successfully restored,
It's
but
not my fault. The volume, Macintosh HD, was successfully restored.
yes, that was the default TTS thing saying that. So, Outspoken crashed. We're going to turn it back on.
Please unlock the disk and try again. Please unlock the 5 lines.
So as you can see, it did not take 10 minutes. That was probably less than 5 minutes. It was about 3 minutes. So pretty fast process for the iBook G4.
Outspoken now.
It crashed again.
Please unlock the disk and... Outspoken now.
Okay, so Outspoken is crashing a lot.
Please unlock the disk and try again. Please unlock 5 lines. Button. Okay. Outspoken now.
But as you heard, it said it was successfully restored. So we basically don't need Outspoken anymore because what we're going to do is just press Command Q. And then we're going to press Command W a bunch of times to close all the windows that are open. And it should be on the desktop. Now, normally you want to kind of go to the, the Windows or the special menu in the menu bar to properly shut it down, but that will not work because Outspoken keeps crashing. I'm going to try to turn it back on.
Please unlock the disk and please unlock 5 lines. Button. Outspoken now.
Yeah, Outspoken keeps crashing. But what we can do is basically just turn off the computer, hard shut down, because we don't have a screen reader. And that's okay to do now, because as long as it said that it was successfully restored, that means now when we turn it back on, it should boot into macOS9 for the first time off of the hard drive. So let's turn on the computer. And now I'm going to take out the installation disk. While it's starting up. That way it doesn't try to boot from that again. Now, there is no really indicator to know if it's booted up or not, but it will take a little bit of time. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what you're going to need to do next, because it's not completely done yet, because macOS 9 has been successfully installed. However, there is one thing to be aware of. Outspoken was included on the CD, but it's not included on the hard drive. So normally when you try to install macOS or Outspoken in macOS 9, it will give you an error and say you're not using the original CD-ROM. Now, I have basically implemented this thing into this particular macOS 9 disk image, and it has worked for me every time to bypass the copy protection of Outspoken. So it should work when you put in an Outspoken. Now, I'm not going to put the Outspoken disk image file in the description unless somebody wants it. Let me know. But what you'll do is get the Outspoken disk image file from, I think you can get it from like Macintosh Garden or something like that. There's a few different places, and you'll burn it to a disk. Again, I'd recommend using a Mac to do that. If it doesn't work on a modern Mac, then I would recommend using, well, it might work on a modern Mac, but I don't know. It should, but it won't work on a PC at all, so, yeah. So, the way to know if it's turned on or not is press your volume up and down keys. For me on the iBook G4, it's F4 and F5. Yeah, and it's working, because if you hear that sound, it's really slow. I wonder if it's doing that thing where it's... Okay, no, it's not. So, we are booted into macOS 9, but there's no screen reader. So what you're going to want to do is take your Outspoken CD that you'll create. Again, if anyone needs it, the disk image, let me know, but... The only one I will provide in the description as of right now will be the macOS9 installer with Outspoken, but not the actual Outspoken installer itself, because that's pretty easy to get from online. So what you're going to want to do is take your Outspoken CD that you burn and put it in the disk drive of the computer. And I just realized something. I'm going to grab my MacBook Pro real quick, my modern computer, because we're going to need something. Now, it should automatically open the installer, but I don't think it will. So
Enter password.
I'm going to type in my... So if it doesn't automatically open the Outspoken installer, you're going to want to press Command O, and that should open it. Or actually, you're going to want to press space first, and then press Command O to open it. And that should open the Outspoken installer. Except it didn't. Maybe let's try it again. Press space, and then press Command
Finder
O.
is not responding. Welcome to macOS. VoiceOver is on.
That's my other computer. Okay, let's press Command O. Okay. I think I remember why it's not working, because when you first start up macOS after installing it, it will take you through like a sort of setup assistant thing. I think you can try to press Command Q and then like Command W, try to get out of all this. And now let's press space and then press Command O. Okay, it still isn't working. Maybe let me try to go to the desktop. I'll just move the mouse and click. Now press space and Command O. Okay. It did not work. Command O is supposed to open. You know what? I don't think that's the problem. I think it's going really slow. Even the volume controls are responding, or they're responding really slowly. So I'm going to force shut down the computer again. And we're going to turn it back on. Now,
iServer has no window accessibility. iServer has no windows.
what I'm going to do is...
Menu bar up about system settings. One update. Close system set. Finder. System NOTES. No Finder. Desktop. Notes.
I might provide this in the description. Again, it's pretty easy to get, especially when if you download the Outspoken screen reader from Macintosh Garden specifically, it's really, or actually no, if you download it from Macintosh Repository, that is the other one, that's where you can easily find the serial number. So...
Vertical splitter. July 10th. Edit text insertion at button. July 10th, 2026 at dialog.
I'm trying to read this note to see if it's...
All quick nav off.
My computer isn't working.
Find notes. Notes. Dialog. No action available. Button.
Well, how come... Well, it seems like my computer is like not working.
Finder. Desktop. Set. Search for application. NOTEA.
Oops.
S.
Okay, well, now that the computer was restarted, let's press space and let's press Command O. And then let's do it again, space and Command O. Interesting, that is supposed to load the Outspoken. It might be because of this setup assistant thing getting in the way, possibly. I'm going to press Command Q and then Command W to, like... It's still going really slow. I know I didn't have this problem last time, so I don't know why I'm having this problem now. This whole process can be a bit of a trial and error thing here. Okay, there we go. It should be working this time because the CD just loaded up. Oh, no, you know what? I know what it was. It was because I hard shut down the computer and what's it called? Something it wanted to like repair the disk and stuff like that because I hard shut down. If it does that, you'll want to just kind of press space and enter and stuff like that to get out of there. But now I'll wait for it to load up and I'm going to try to...
Text notice insertion at end of text. A-E-T-O-N. N-O-T-E-S. No finder.
I'm trying to find the notes for the serial number.
My notes as verticals. My notes as list table. July 10th, 2026 at 12. Edit text insertion at begin button. All quick edit text insertion at beginning of text.
Yes, I want to read it.
In edit text outspoken serial number 51903.
Okay, yes.
Outspoken serial number 51903.
Alright, now let's see if we have... Yeah, you can tell now that it's acting faster. So that might happen. I don't know if it'll happen to you, but it does happen to me sometimes where when you turn the computer on with this installed macOS system and it goes really slow and just acts weird, just force reboot it. That doesn't happen all the time though, only sometimes. And you'll know if like you press your volume control keys and it's slow, but this time it's fast. Like I can... It responds every time. So now what you're going to do is put in your Outspoken CD, press space, and then press Command O to open it. And that should open
Welcome
the
to the Outspoken installer. Press return to start installing Outspoken 9.0 on your current startup disk. Press escape to leave your disk untouched.
Return.
Install. Please enter your name here, and press tab to continue to the next field.
Now I'll put in my name.
C-A-M-E-R-O-N. Please enter the name of your company here.
You don't need to do this.
You may... Please enter the serial number of your copy of Outspoken here. You can find it on the registration card, in print, and on the label of disc 2, in both print and braille.
Now, you will need the serial number or it won't let you continue. So what we're going to do is, I have a note of the serial number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the number.
519
Please enter the 519
032
032
679.
679. Registration number has become a valid one. Press return to install Outspoken.
Now we're going to press return.
Install. Installation of Outspoken was successful. To use Outspoken, your Macintosh must be restarted. Press return to restart. Press escape to restart.
And now it will restart the computer. Or it should at least. It might take a minute. And now, when the computer comes back on, we should now have the macOS 9 desktop with the Outspoken screen reader. So I'm going to quit this.
Finder, desktop, OSX System, menu bar Apple, about apps before sleep. Restart ellipse, shutdown ellipsis. Reopen, can't shut down default button.
I'll turn off this computer. So yeah, as you can tell, it's a little bit of a process. There's some trial and error involved, you know. But once it gets going, you shouldn't have any more problems. Once Outspoken is installed, again, I might do another tutorial exactly on like more details on how to use Outspoken, if like anyone wants that, because it's it's a little different than a traditional screen reader for like earlier ones. It's definitely way different than VoiceOver in later macOS and different than older Windows screen readers because it uses the number pad instead of the traditional arrow keys and tab and stuff like that. So
Window.
Dialog. Welcome to Outspoken, Cameron.
and now
Desktop.
you can hear that Outspoken has turned on. And now you can go in there, if you know how to use macOS 9, there's the Apple menu. You press the number pad key by itself, the numlock. And that is how you will access the menus.
Menu Apple.
And then you kind of navigate around.
File. Edit. View. Window. Special. Special. With the Apple. File. Apple.
And and then you.
Menu.
And now Outspoken also does not crash anymore in the like once it's installed. It only does that on the CD.
About this computer. Icon. Airport. Icon. Apple. Icon. Calculator. User. Control panels. Submenu.
Now I'm gonna go to the control panels,
Window.
and there will be an Outspoken control panel.
30 items, 20. Appearance. Appearance. Control strip. Symbol. File sharing. File sharing. Icon. Icon. Keychain access. Launcher.
Now,
Location
I
manager.
would recommend actually, because sometimes in the control panels in the file manager, it reads everything like all at once. There's something I would recommend you do. Go to the, once you're in the control panels, I would go to the menu bar,
Menu Apple.
and then go to window, or no, view, I mean.
File. Edit. View. Menu.
Go to that menu, and what you're going to want to do is,
Check. As icons. As buttons. As list.
you're going to want to click as list.
Window.
That is a little more accessible, and it doesn't like clump everything all together. It only reads one item at a time when you navigate.
30 items, button. Name. Appearance. Appearance. Thursday, I-26, 1999, 2:00
Oh, that's weird. That's funny. It seems to read the date when it was created. But yeah, now you can see that it's more accessible because it reads the date when the file was created, and it reads only one at a time instead of all clumped together.
Apple menu options. Apple menu options. There's Apple Talk. Apple Color Sync. Simple.
So yes,
Control strip. Control. Date and time. Extension manager. File exchange. File sharing. General controls. Internet. Keyboard. Icon. Keychain access. Thursday, icon. Launcher. I-20. Location manager. Scroll up. Memory. Memory. Web, simple. Scroll.
now there should be a scroll thing here, but I think we can actually press
Simple.
the zoom button.
Scroll left. Scroll. Scroll. Date and time. Date and time.
There's actually a certain way to get
Control
to that close
strip.
box, but
Control
I don't remember how to do
simple.
it.
Color. Apple. App. Appear. Button. Name.
But at the top of the window
Top.
here,
Top.
there's a zoom
30
button.
items. 30. Close box. Control panels folder. Control panels. Control panel. Zoom.
Yes, I'm going to click this zoom button and see what it does. Maybe it'll show all the items now.
Collapse. Zoom. 30 items. Button. Appearance. Apple. App. Colors. Control. Data. Extend. File. Files. General. Internet. Keyboard. Icon. Icon. Location. Memory. Monitor. Then icon.
Yeah.
Mouse. Thursday,
That's
I-10,
what I would recommend you do in the control panels window is, or any file manager really, is press that zoom button at the top because that will be able to show all the contents of the window.
Icon. Multiple users. Numbers. Outspoken. Outspoken 9.
So I'm gonna click the Outspoken 9 control panel here. Command down arrow to
Window.
open it. Well, actually, I think you can use Command down arrow or Command O. It doesn't matter which one you do, actually. I like using Command down arrow because, well, for this sort of thing. But now we're in the Outspoken control panel.
9.0. Button. Button. Button.
And this
But
is
no.
where you can change all the settings and, you know, all that stuff. So
Button. Settings.
I'm going to go to settings. Actually, no, let's go to text to speech. Or no, let's go to settings.
Dialog. At work nothing. Capital speak. Caps lock speak. Dim text speak. Echo words. Graphics pitch. Graphics. Echo words.
I'm going to go to this menu.
Menu. Characters. Check. Words. Stars and words.
That's supposed to be characters and words, but yes, I'm going to select that one.
Echo stars. Echo stars and words. Graphics pitch.
Now I'm going to change this. Now this is, you don't have to do this part. This is just stuff, once basically we're done. When it's installed, you're basically done. I'm just sort of doing this stuff. I'm in the Outspoken control panel because I'm sort of showing you what you can change in here. And how I like to change it to my preference. So I'm going to click this other one.
Menu.
And I'm going to
Speak.
speak.
Tone.
Or actually, what's this tone button? Let's do tone.
Graphics tone. Graphics. I dash bar nothing. Movement tone. Numbers words. Punctuation all.
Punctuation, I'm going to say
Menu. Check. All. Some. Nothing. Nothing. Some.
I'm going to do some for punctuation.
Some. Repeat filter on.
Repeat filter, I like to turn this. You can do whatever you want with these settings, but I'm just kind of demonstrating what I like to do with my settings, my configuration.
Menu. Check. On. Off. Off. Off.
I'm going to turn off the repeat filter.
Repeat filter off. Repeat. Style change tone. Windows speak. Button. Cancel. Button. OK. Window. Settings. Button. Voice. Button. Dictionary.
So there's dictionary, settings, and voice.
Button. 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 Voice.
Another
Dialogue.
voice.
Voice settings. Voice. Red. 1 rate.
Oh, yeah.
Menu Apple. 5. Edit help. 7:32. Window.
So you can change certain things. So yeah, I won't go into this part of it too much more because this is basically already a very long recording. But that was just sort of a little overview, you know, of how to actually install my custom Outspoken macOS9 thing. So like I said, I will provide the link to download that in the description of this video. And then I will not provide the Outspoken screen reader itself yet unless anyone wants it particularly, but because that's pretty easy to find on Macintosh Garden or Macintosh Repository, same with that serial number, or you can just listen to the recording when I type the serial number and just type the same one. So yes, that is how you install macOS 9 on the iBook G4. Now again, at the beginning of the recording, I said this is guaranteed to work on the iBook G4 model PowerBook 6.5, but this is not guaranteed to work on every computer. So what I would say is just test it out. You know, if you have an iBook G3 or a G4 or really anything, I would say just test this on your computer and let me know if it works or not, because what I can do is, this is my disk image, and I can make modifications to it to try to include backward compatibility with as many computers as possible. That's how I managed to run this on the iBook G4 and also get Outspoken in there. So yes, that is it for this recording. I will plan on trying to record more recordings, you know, in the future, but I can't guarantee when, because I know that every time I say a schedule when I'll record, I never do. So it's been a year since I've recorded, so just, I guess, stay tuned and expect the recordings, well, whenever, because I might start, you know, putting out more videos soon. I do plan on doing one where I demonstrate Outspoken a little more and sort of the macOS 9 system. But right now, I just wanted this one to be how to actually install it. So that is it for this recording.
Close Alt Stop. Space.